This story was DM'd to me by a guy named Dale, and he said after what he saw on this job site, there is no amount of money that will ever make him go back. So Dale works for a very high-end private logistics company that operates across the United States and in certain parts of Canada. And it's the kind of company that gets hired by private security and even military contractors to move things that aren't really supposed to be known or talked about. Dale saw my video about Adam, the werewolf bodyguard, and this kind of made him want to come forward and share his story. So one day he gets assigned to a job, and he's driving to a remote part of Alaska to pick up an unknown meat product, and he is to transport it into British Columbia. Very little details, no questions asked, and just a very private client. But before he leaves, his employer gives him a few very specific rules, and they are: do not at all look inside the trailer after you do your pickup, and when you arrive, give 3 honks of the horn, and whatever you do when you get there, do not get out of the truck. And he said that part really stuck with him, because what his boss told him next really kind of solidified it. And his boss said, they'll know that you're there before you even know that you're there. And he's like, okay, well, that's kind of weird, but whatever. So a few days later, he's driving through, he does his pickup in Alaska, and now he's out in the middle of nowhere in British Columbia. Fresh snow covering everything. And he said the roads were so bad and icy that he had to go kind of slow because he didn't want to fishtail out. And that's when he started to see and notice something beside his truck. And at first he thought it was just, like shadows from like the trees, but then he saw it again and again, and it was these massive shapes that were moving alongside either end of his truck, and they were keeping pace with him. They were just out in the distance, and he said whatever they were big and they were fast, and they stayed with him for almost 2 miles. Yeah, he said he was maybe going 20-30 miles an hour, but still. Eventually he reached the drop-off point, and there's literally nothing out there. There's this one building with no lights and just trees and snow. So he backs the truck up and he lays on the horn 3 times as he was directed, and then he just sits and waits. And a few minutes go by, and then suddenly the back trailer door swings wide open. And he said he couldn't really see anything because it was so dark, but then the truck started to shake, and not like machinery or like a forklift was going in and out to pick up whatever this was. He said he knows what that feels like. He's been doing this for 30 years. This was very different, and this, he said, felt like heavy footsteps walking in and out of the trailer, and it was over and over again. And whatever was unloading that truck was big enough to rock the whole thing with him in it. And then finally, he hears the 3 knocks on his cab, and that's his sign to roll out and leave. And exactly how they said that it would happen. Everything was going very according to plan, pretty much. So he doesn't hesitate. He puts the truck in drive and he starts pulling away. And as he's leaving, he makes the mistake of checking his rearview mirror out of habit, and in the glow of his taillights, that's when he sees it. It's standing there perfectly still, and he said it was easily 10 to 11 feet tall. It had very, very broad shoulders. Snow was clinging to what looked like fur on it, and its head was shaped like a massive dog. He actually said it looked like a German Shepherd's head. And he said for a second, his brain couldn't even process or really understand what he was looking at. But as his eyes adjusted, this thing was gone. And he never got called back for another job like that, but he said he knows what he saw, and whatever was out there that night, he knows for a fact it wasn't human. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.